Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation for today is the 8th pauri of War Rag Maj in Mahalla Pehla. And now the recitation. Slok Mahalla Pehla, Musalman Kahavan Musakal, Ja hoye ta Musalman Kahave, Avval aul deen kar mitha, Muskal mana mal musave, होए मुस्लिम दीन मुहाने, मरण जीवन का भरम चुकावै, रब की रजाए मन्ने, सिर ऊपर करता मन्ने, आप गवावै, तव नानक सर्ब जियां मेहरामत होए, तब मुसलमान कहावै। महला चौथा। पर हर काम क्रोध झूठ निंदा, तज माया अहंकार चुकावै, तज काम कामनी मोह तजे, ता अंजन माहे निरंजन पावै, तज मान अबमान प्रीत सुत दारा तज, प्यास आस राम लिव लावै, नानक साचा मन वसै, साच शब्द हर नाम समावै। पौड़ी। राज्य रैयत सिकदार, कोय न रहसियो, हट पट्टन बाजार, हुक्मी टहसियो, पक्के बंक द्वार, मूर्ख जाने आपने, दरब भरे भंडार, रीते इक खणे, ताजी रथ तुखार हाथी पाखरे, बाग मिलख घर बार, किथै से आपने, तुम्ब पलंग निवार सराय चै लालती, नानक सच दातार सिनाखत कुदरती. So the conversation from the previous message is being concluded here in the first salok, namely being a Muslim or a Musalman and living the way of Islam, as it appears that Guru Nanak is addressing that audience. And here he is concluding by saying, Musalman Kahavan Musakal, ja hoye ta Musalman kahave. Only the worthy can claim to be called a Muslim, for it is hard to live as one. And then he adds, to be a Muslim, first and foremost, awwal, is to sweetly and willingly submit to the way of life prescribed by the teacher, by the enlightener, and here it is a reference to the Prophet. Sweetly and willingly, kar bittha, submit, deen, prescribed by the awliya. Then, in order to do that, the rust of pride has to be scoured. Maskalamanna, self-conceit has to be given up. And mal musave. Mal musave is to give away goods, worldly goods. Here it symbolizes to practice charity. So get rid of self-conceit, practice charity, and submit yourself to the prescribed way of the Prophet. And then, if you claim to be a Muslim, hoye Muslim, and have submitted to the teachings of the leader, Deen Muhanne, then free yourself from the delusion of birth and death. Jivan ka param chukave. Accept divine will, Rab ki rajaye manne. Surrender to the Creator, sir upar karta manne. And again, give up self-conceit. This is a reiteration. Then, says Nanak, you might have a claim. But there is a condition. After all of this, there has to be mercy in your heart for all humanity. Sarab jiyan mehramat hoye, ta Musalman Kahavan. Then you can make that claim to be a Muslim. Otherwise, not. So we see that in the first salok, being a Muslim is ultimately a matter of submission to the divine will, or in other words, harmonizing with the force of creativity that governs the universe. And this involves ridding oneself of egoity, cultivation of charity, and mercy towards all. If you notice, this is not very different from the requirements of being a Sikh. In other words, Guru Nanak is speaking to the essence of all religion. And now this passage switches to a prologue from Mahalla Chotha, the fourth Nanak. And he has, in his salok, kind of shifted the direction a little to explain to us how submission happens. It's talking about the precondition, the very first things that you have to do. What are those? पर हर काम क्रोध झूठ निंदा तज माया अहंकार चुकावे. Forsake desire and anger, renounce lying and slander, give up the vanity of wealth. So when these sensual desires and attachments are checked, काम कामनी मोह तजे, then the pristine self is found within the world, within the passions of the world. Ta anjana mahe niranjana pave. So it is this world, it is within the passions, it is within the emotions that we have to find the eternal truth. That is the name of the game. You don't have to run off anywhere. It is right here. But you have to learn how to navigate the process. And that is the first requirement, is the abandoning of sensual pleasures. It is of containing and reining in the senses. So the passage continues, abandon the arrogance of fame, tajman abaman, give up attachment to children and spouse. Preet sutdara taj, live without expectation. Pyas aas, just give it up and fix your attention on the self. Ram live lave. And Nanak says, the eternal self, which you have to find within the world, will abide in the mind, Nanak sach man vase, when, only when, through the true testimony of the enlightener, sach a-sabad, when through the testimony of the enlightener, the knowledge of the self is absorbed. Hara naam samave. So this is how the process works. And then in the Pauri, and the essence of this passage, the Guru talks about the impermanence of the world and the things of the world, and how we have to have the wisdom to look beyond this impermanence to that never-changing self. The Guru says, Raje Rayat Sikdar Koi na rahsiyo, Hat Pattan Bajar Hukmi Tehsiyo. Hukmi. It is the ordinance of the Hukmi. Who is the Hukmi? The one whose Hukm, whose command reigns. So the Hukmi is the Supreme Being. It is its ordinance. And what is the ordinance? The ordinance is that neither the kings nor the chiefs or their subjects will remain forever. Raje Rayat Sikdar Koi na rahsiyo. All shops and markets, in other words, all human activity, all human creation will eventually crumble. Hat Pattan Bajar Hukmi Tehsiyo, Teh Jana, to crumble, will be demolished. Pakke bank dwar murkh jane apne, but we are ignorant. We are foolish and we are deluded. So what do? We consider our homes and mansions to be our permanent possessions. Murkh. Pakke bank dwar murkh jane apne. That's the sign of ignorance. Because in an instant, ik kine, treasuries that were overflowing with wealth can be emptied out. Darb pare pandar ritte kine. Where all your possessions, and there is a list of possessions, Arabian horses, taj, rath, chariots, cars, let us say, vehicles, driving, camels, modes of transportation, tukhar, bedecked elephants, luxury vehicles, hathi pakhare, perfumed gardens, land, property, garbar. The Guru is reminding you, kithe se apne? Where are all of these things that you claim to be yours? They are not yours. Where are all the canopied tents, he asks. Tambu, palang, nivar, saraiche, lalati. Saraiche, lalati, silk drapes. Where is all the finery? And he concludes by saying, the eternal giver, Sach Datar, Sanakhat Kudrati, the giver of all these things, all of these gifts, has to be recognized, and it is revealed in its creative nature, Kudrati. So we have to become alert to nature. We have to communicate with the world around us. We have to be able to develop the capacity to see beyond the obvious. With that thought, until the next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.